Hello guys and Happy New Year! In these really challenging times, it's difficult to make any predictions about 2025, but it is super important to make some conclusions about 2024. And I think that Politico did it the best when named Putin the loser of the year, actually for the third time in a row. And BBC UA made a really nice selection of the most important events of Russian war in Ukraine in 2024. And perhaps the most important highlight is that it is no more just Russian war in Ukraine. It is also Ukrainian special military operation to Kursk. And there are other events like the destruction of A-50 command and control aircraft, the permission to strike inside Russia, Russia's failure to attack Kharkiv region, Oreshnik that Putin constantly used to threaten the world. And I think it's important to analyze all of these highlights, and that's what we will do in the video. As Ukrainian defense continues, and we have just stopped the transit of Russian gas, a great problem for the Kremlin, and Syrskyi visited Ukrainian soldiers in Kursk region. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of Russia and also protect yourself against the hybrid warfare, subscribe. We discuss all of that on the channel. And indeed, the end of the year, the start of the new year is a time to reflect, to learn the lessons. And I think we will go through these top events of 2024 in the Russian war in Ukraine to see why Putin actually is indeed the loser of the year, or maybe the loser of the century. So, in January 2024, Ukrainian armed forces destroyed Russian A-50 command and control aircraft. Very expensive and rare. Russia actually stopped using them on the front lines, but at that time they were very bad for Ukraine because they were able to scan deep inside Ukrainian territory while flying and operating like a radar and coordinating the work of Russian bombers and many other evil stuff. By destroying them, we actually hit Russia very hard. Then in February, an important decision came and President decided to substitute Zaluzhny with another commander-in-chief, Syrskyi. That was a nervous moment, but it turned out to be really good, and I feel that both of these men are now doing good job. Zaluzhny as an ambassador of Ukraine to the United Kingdom and Syrskyi as a commander-in-chief. And here I will add that just today he visited Ukrainian armed forces in Kursk region. And everything goes according to the plan, but not the Putin's plan, the plan of Zelensky and all Ukrainian people. Also, February was a bad month because we lost control over Avdiivka, and this city is totally destroyed as all the territories that Russia managed to occupy. A very important reminder, they don't get the territories and cities, they don't conquer them, they simply destroy. They drop hundreds and thousands of bombs, scorched earth policy, traditional Russian tactics, and that is also, unfortunately, the consequence of delayed supplies, because there were very long periods when Ukrainian armed forces did not have artillery shells, missiles, or anything they needed to protect themselves. And during that time, Russia tried to organize another offensive on Kharkiv region, especially from the north. The city of Vovchansk suffered greatly, but Russians failed. And most importantly, they brought another trouble to their territory. That is the permission of Ukraine to strike inside Russia. And that changed a lot and actually led to severe losses and demilitarization of Russia that continues right now. Subscribe to see how that demilitarization continues, and please share these videos on your social media platforms. Also, my favorite highlight of 2024, honestly, is the start of Kursk Operation. It all began on the 6th of August and continues right now. It was an operation that surprised everyone in Ukraine and the world, but definitely surprised the Russian generals greatly. And it illustrated the very important fact Russia is a classical bully that is prepared to attack smaller countries but totally unprepared to defend itself. Their air defense is not working, their borders are not protected, and they cannot stop real armed forces moving inside the Russian Federation. Now, to try to get Kursk back, Russia had to ask North Korean soldiers, but even with that, with heavy losses, they've lost more than 38,000 of soldiers in Kursk operation. It is under the control of the Ukrainian armed forces. And here we come to another important and bad precedent of this war. That is the union between Russia and North Korea. It all began with the supplies of weapons, various missiles from North Korea to Russia because Russia ran out of weapons, and continued with real North Korean soldiers coming to the front lines, thousands of them, and some intelligence services say that 1,000 more will soon come. But even Russian intelligence proves they are not capable of fighting and they experience heavy losses and don't change anything in the course of Kursk counteroffensive, offensive, I don't know how to name it properly. But it was also a test to the world when we clearly see the union between two evil authoritarian countries with nuclear weapons, and the world expressed concerns, which I personally consider a failure. But maybe it will change in the next months when more and more global leaders will finally realize it's not about Ukraine, it's not a local conflict, it's authoritarian regimes trying to destroy the democratic countries. But we won't let them. Trust me, I'm Ukrainian. And Ukrainians received some F-16 in 2024. 2 years since the start of Russian invasion, somewhere in summer, we received the first F-16s, and right now they are used for the defense of Ukrainian territories, or because we don't have enough of them to actively involve them in combat operations. It is also bad because that could change a lot in the course of war, and approximately Ukraine needs like 100 a year, but I think we have like 10. But still, it is a great breakthrough, something no one could expect, and it also works very bad for the confidence of the Russian soldiers. And another victory, political victory perhaps, was the permission to strike inside Russia. These are not yet classical long-range missiles, but still a great change. I don't know why it took so long, because if we had everything we need in 2022, we could have ended this war in 2022, saving thousands of lives of Ukrainians and even Russians. And I personally believe it's really bad when political decisions overrule military decisions, when it is a full-scale hot war. The time for political decisions ended maybe in 2014, or if you are very, very reserved, then in 2022. But for sure, that was the time when time for political decisions ended, and like real generals should have made decisions. And the majority of like NATO generals agreed that Ukraine must have this permission to strike deep inside Russia. Hopefully we will preserve this permission, and hopefully we will develop more of Ukrainian missiles not to ask for that permission. And there are actually rumors that some have already been tested on Russian pipeline Druzhba. We will see in the days to come. And to protect his totally destroyed image, Putin keeps repeating Oreshnik, Oreshnik, Oreshnik. The name for this missile is same stupid as the leader of the country that keeps using it, and it did not have the effect Putin expected. He targeted Dnipro with Oreshnik, he kept talking about it, but I don't see that it stopped anyone in Ukraine from the determination to destroy the Kremlin regime. And also, it's important to mention that a victory closely connected to Russian war in Ukraine is the loss of Putin's geopolitical influence. And he lost control over Syria, which is not just about military bases. It is huge, and it is an illustration for China, for Saudi Arabia, and perhaps Turkey took control over that. Most importantly, Ukrainian delegation has already visited Syria, and we supply them with food because Ukraine is a good country. Ukraine is a breadbasket of the world. And please don't let them trick you in discussions like, let's start from a new page, let's see what two countries have to say. No, Ukraine is a victim, Russia is an aggressor. Ukraine is a country that was always kind to neighbors and countries far away, and Russia not only killed thousands of innocent people, it also undermined all the laws and agreements. So definitely we all should act as policemen, arrest that country and punish it according to the war crimes committed. And I'm sure that problems will amass and hopefully destroy Russian economy in 2025. This will be the safest way to achieve it, and it is actually already happening. With the end of gas transit, it will be even more problematic, and as sanctions continue, I am sure we will see ruble collapsing and problems amassing. Our task is just to remain united and confident that only the defeat of evil can bring peace. So here in Ukraine, when we say Happy New Year and wish each other what we want the most, we wish peace, but only after the victory. Join me on X, I'm fighting there, on Instagram, I'm sharing more of everyday life there, on Threads and Blue Sky communities growing really quickly, and that makes me happy. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. Thank you for your friendship, for your advice, for being true family. Even though you're far away, I feel how close we are, and many of the Ukrainian victories are possible because of your support. Share the videos, join the community of the channel if you're new. Check our merch shop. All the links that you need are in the description of this video. But most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. З Новим роком, that is Happy New Year. З Новим роком. Слава Україні!